Thank you for watching this thesis Q&A video. We realize that this process can be difficult to maneuver. We've decided to create this video in order to provide you with as much information as possible to help guide you through this long and difficult process. So the first thing that we're going to go over is a general overview of the process. We'll go over each individual item later on in the video. First thing you're going to do is you're going to edit your document. This requires reading it, making sure that your spelling and grammar is correct. After you have edited your document, then it is ready to go through your defense. Your defense can be a presentation, or you'll have your committee read it and they will sign off on all of your content. Once your content is approved, then you'll format your document to conform to the SDSU formatting guidelines as well as your department guidelines. Once the formatting is complete, then your thesis will go through review, which is done by our office. Once your review has been approved, your thesis will be published via the library and ProQuest. Once you have paid your final publishing payment, then we will notify Graduate Affairs and they clear you for graduation. There are two offices that work together in the completion of the thesis process. The first is Graduate Affairs. They keep record of your name, your degree title, and your committee members. They also keep record of your enrollment in 799, and they also keep record of your IRB status if you have animal or human research subjects in your study. They also make the final clearance for graduation. Montezuma Publishing's role in the thesis process is we offer optional editing and formatting services. We do all the review for the university, and we publish all the theses and dissertations for the library. We're now going to go over the differences between editing, formatting, and review. These terms are often used interchangeably, but they are very different. Editing is the process of correcting your document for spelling, grammar, punctuation, clarity, and effective use of language. This must be done before formatting, since shifting any content will affect the formatting of your document. Formatting is creating a document that conforms to the SDSU guidelines, as well as your department guidelines. This is strictly how it looks on the page, so there should be uniform presentation, and the format of your in-text citations and references must conform to your department guidelines. Review is checking the document to ensure that all the guidelines have been met from both the university as well as your department. You have three options when formatting or editing. You can do it yourself. You can hire a freelance formatter. There is a list available on our website. You can hire a freelance editor. A list of them is available on Graduate Affairs website, or you can hire Montezuma Publishing. Now we're going to go over the difference between freelance formatters and Montezuma Publishing. Like I said earlier, a list of freelance formatters is available on our website under a clickable link titled Professional Support. You'd have to contact them individually for their turnaround time and cost because they do not work for Montezuma Publishing. You are still required to go through regular review, which is $50, and freelance formatters take an average of 1 to 2 attempts to pass review. If you would like to hire Montezuma Publishing to do the formatting, we charge $3 a page and we ask for a 50% deposit. The $50 review fee is included in the formatting fee, and due to the popularity of our service, we recommend turning in your thesis prior to the without risk deadline, which we'll go over later on. Once your thesis has been reviewed and approved, you will receive an email which includes the balance due if you hired us for formatting, any department required copies, as well as the 90-day payment deadline notification. You have 90 days from when you receive the approval email to pay your publishing. Otherwise, you will be required to re-enroll on $799 prior to us taking your publishing payment. The publishing requirements are a $45 university processing fee that all thesis and dissertation students pay, and you are required to purchase the copies required by your department. If you would like to calculate the cost of these copies, a list of pricing is available on our website. Personal copies can be ordered at any time, but department copies must be paid for at the time of the publishing payment.
If you choose you don't want to deal with editing, you have two options. The first is to hire a freelance editor. And there's a list of freelance editors on the Graduate Affairs website. Now, editing must be taken care of before we can accept your document for formatting and review. The second option would be to hire Montezuma Publishing to take care of the editing for you. If you are going to do this, you must submit your document to our office before you defend. Now, you have two options for editing when it comes to Montezuma Publishing. You can either hire us for standalone editing, which is $3 per page, or for an editing and formatting combo, which is $5 a page. When you submit your document, we require that half of the total amount be submitted as a deposit for us to work on your document. When we're doing editing, we are only looking at the body of your document. We do not look at preliminary pages. We do not look at the appendices or the references. We're only checking your body, the body of your document for grammar and syntax. For editing, we allow a maximum of 3 drafts before your defense. And after you've defended, we will only edit components that have been signed off as needing changes according to your committee. Once you have gone through your defense, we will need the signature page with all of your committee members' signatures before we can begin formatting your document. The following 13 rules are SDSU's guidelines for how a thesis should appear. First, your name, committee members, and degree title must match the university records. Those are on file with Graduate Affairs. Second, your thesis must comply with the department guidelines. The department guidelines specify 2 different components. The first is the approved text formats. This includes chapter, section, and technical style. The second is the department-approved style guide, and you must comply with the style guide that your department selects. For instance, if you are in the astronomy department, you are required to use Astrophysical Journal for all of your in-text citations and references. If you format your document using APA or LaTeX for your citations and references, we will not be able to accept your document for review. Regarding margins, the university requires that the margins be set to 1 1/4 inch on the left side and 1 inch on the top, right, and bottom margins. You are allowed to reduce your margins to 7/8 of an inch in order to accommodate oversized tables or figures. You must use a professional font in size 12 point. For specific elements outside of the main text, such as footnotes, table notes, and computer code, you may reduce your font size to 8 points. For line spacing, the university prefers that you use 1.5 line spacing, although double spacing is permissible. The following list is the 13 rules that SDSU requires so that all theses have a similar uniform appearance. First, your name, degree title, and committee members must match the university records that they have on file. These are kept with Graduate Research Affairs. Second, department guidelines. Each department has their own specific guidelines regarding approved text formats and department style guides that they want their students to use. For approved text formats, there are chapter, section, and technical, and for department style guides, those are selected by the department. So if you are in astronomy, you are required to use Astrophysical Journal Style Guide. If you try to submit your document to us using APA or LaTeX or any other type of style guide for your references and in-text citations, we will be unable to take your document as it does not comply with your department's requirements. Regarding margins, the university recommends that you use 1 1/4 inch margins on the left and 1 inch margins on the top, right, and bottom of your document. If necessary, you may reduce your margins to 7/8 of an inch all around to accommodate oversized tables or figures. For fonts, you must use a professional font in size 12 point. For tables, footnotes, or other material that is outside of the main text, you may use a font as low as 8 points. All text must be black with the exception of figures, tables, and computer code, which are allowed to have color. For line spacing, the university prefers that you use 1.5 line spacing. However, double spacing is permissible. Certain elements outside of the main text are allowed to be or must be single-spaced. These include tables, lists, block quotations, footnotes or endnotes, figure captions, table titles, and bibliographic entries. You must start the first page of each new section, chapter, and appendix on a new page and increase the top margin of that page to 2 inches. This includes the acknowledgement section, the list of tables, figures, and the table of contents in your preliminary pages. For bibliography and references, these must be placed either at the end of each chapter or at the end of the main text. However, they must appear before the appendices. For bibliographic entries, remember you must use single line spacing. For figures and tables, if you are including more than one figure or table in your document, you must create a list of all figures and all tables that appears in the preliminary pages. These must include a figure table number, a figure caption or a table title, and the page on which this entry begins. Tables and figures must be labeled uniquely and numbered sequentially throughout your document. You must not have the same caption for each figure or the same title for each table. For images, the university recommends that you use 300 dpi resolution. Any supplementary materials that you do have must be submitted on a CD when you submit your document. The table of contents lists each chapter number, chapter title, and the page on which the chapter begins. You must list the word chapter as a heading before listing the numbers of the titles in each chapter below. Preliminary page numbers use lowercase Roman numerals, and page numbering begins on page 3 of the preliminary pages. Preliminary pages must appear in order. This means that your first page must be your title page, second would be your signature page, third is copyright. You have an optional dedication and an optional epigraph. Required is your abstract, then the table of contents, followed by a list of tables, a list of figures, and then finally acknowledgements. If you choose to undertake formatting on your own, we host a bunch of different resources on our website for you to use. These include a list of the 13 rules that you just saw, as well as department requirements for text formats, as well as department style guides. Additionally, we have a series of templates that you can download and use. If you happen to find the DTM, or the Dissertation and Thesis Manual, please do not use this. This is an out-of-date formatting reference guide, and it will not comply with the 13 rules that SDSU has provided. The first document that we host on our site is the Thesis template. SDSU's Thesis template is the most up-to-date version on our website. Additionally, we also have templates for signature pages, including 3 committee member, 4 committee member, and 5 committee member signature pages. We also have a landscape template in case you need to place an oversized figure into your document. We also host a link to the LaTeX template, which is available on Peter Baumgartner's website. If your department says that they have a copy of the SDSU template on their website, please do not use this, as it is likely an outdated copy. Only use the template that we provide on our website. To help you with formatting, we have a list of additional resources and step-by-step guides, including a guide for subdocument import. Subdocument import allows you to take the text from a different file and import it into the template without messing up any of the formatting or without you losing any of the text from your original document. When it comes to using the template has a series of instructions that are listed throughout the document. For instance, for the title, it tells you to type in your title and then apply the style for either Title 1 or Title 2. Bear in mind that these styles are useful because they may mess up your document if you do not apply the correct style. If you have a 3-line title and you do not apply the 3-line title style, you may realize that the entire bottom of the title page has shifted onto a different page. With regards to styles, there are styles for every single element you may need for your thesis. These include title lines, captions for figures, table titles, chapter labels, chapter titles, and so on. All of these styles are automatically linked into the table of contents, so that when you update the table of contents, all of your information should appear correctly. If it does not, then you need to reapply the style that is listed in order to make it appear correctly. Now we're going to cover the review process. When you bring in your thesis for review, you must bring in your original signed signature page. We cannot accept a copy, we cannot accept a scan. It must be the original page with your committee members' signatures on it. If need be, you can submit signatures on separate pages. You must also bring in an electronic copy of your thesis. This can either be on a flash drive, or you can email it to us at thesis@aztecmail.com. When you submit your document for review, there is going to be a fee that is required for review. For the initial round of review, that's rounds 1 and 2, it is a $50 fee. For rounds 3 and 4, it is a $25 fee. And for rounds 5 and 6, it is also a $25 fee. When it comes to review, we will be comparing your thesis against the university guidelines, as well as comparing it against the department-approved style guide. When we're reviewing your document, we will make comments on any errors that appear. We have a comment limit of 20 comments per round of review. Once you have reached that limit, or if there are any additional corrections that need to be made, we will send your document back to you. Review can take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, depending on when you submit your document. Once you receive an email for corrections, you'll have 45 days within which you must submit your document. If you do not submit your document within these 45 days, your thesis will be rejected and you will need to re-enroll in 799. If you submit your document within 2 weeks of receiving this email, you will maintain your priority status. This means that if you resubmit your document, you will retain your position in review. The following slides are perhaps the most important components of this entire process. These are the slides for deadlines. All of these deadlines are listed on Montezuma Publishing's website and the Graduate Affairs website. They are also listed on the academic calendar. First, without risk. The without risk deadline is not a guarantee that you will graduate in the current semester. This deadline merely allows enough time for your document to be reviewed twice, provided that you respond to your reviewers' emails in a timely manner. The next deadline is the final deadline. This is the day by which you must have gone through review, been approved, and paid for all processing, which includes any department copies or committee member copies, in order to graduate for the current semester. The next deadline is the last day to submit. If you submit your thesis on or before this date, you do not need to re-enroll in 799. You may either submit your document for formatting or for review. If you are submitting for formatting, you need to bring in your document formatted to the best of your abilities. If you are submitting for review, your thesis must meet the minimum requirements. This means that you need to have filled out all required preliminary pages, including the abstract page, the table of contents, and a list of figures or tables. Additionally, your thesis must comply with your department's approved style guides for in-text citations and references. If you are submitting for either review or formatting, you must also bring in your original signed signature page. To recap, the without risk deadline is all about time management. You need to ensure that you provide yourself enough time to submit your document, for your document to go through review, and then to respond to any comments as quickly as possible in order to ensure that you get those 2 rounds of review. The final deadline is the deadline that you must pay all publishing fees and been approved in order to graduate for the current semester. And the last day to submit is a deadline that allows you to avoid re-enrolling and thus saves you money on tuition. Thank you so much for watching this slideshow. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to contact us either by phone at 619-594-7551 or via email at thesis@aztecmail.com. If you need to use any of the resources that were listed in this slideshow, please see our website, www.montezumapublishing.com.